I knew you were coming, so I sent everyone away because I believed my final moment was at hand. Before you pull that trigger and take my life, I would like the chance to tell you some things, perhaps to think about after I'm gone. Don't worry about me stalling. My people have orders to lead me to my studies for another 15 minutes. I will only take 5. Can you bear with me? Will you? Then make up your mind. Today marks the change of not only a new year, but a new millennium. Take a look around. The majority of the youth roam the streets, dealing in drugs, sex, and violence, thinking these things have no real effect on life. Crimes without real punishment, an uncaring, unfeeling generation without knowledge of self. This is the future of our nation, the future of our people. Do you think hatred and evil will go unpunished? The world is now feeling the heat from flames that has kept burning since the beginning of civilization. You represent that fire. You and I are just a small part of God's plan. The evil men of this world have applied every method possible to deceive its occupants, and each time with greater success than anticipated. But no more. Tonight, with this new millennium, God will begin to overcome this evil. I represent the truth to the people. Without truth, nothing is sacred. The lie, that's what the devil is all about. And brother, you know that already, because that's why you're here. The truth is, we all play a grave role in our own destruction. Your money, your lifestyles, the things that people value and covet so dearly are the bait that lures them out of the light. Through the love of others, I have power. The truth gives me this. Those that fear me send you here to murder all that I say. They use what you fear against you. Your fear of death, your fear of imprisonment. Where in this world is anyone safe from death? You see the lies you've been told? The path you take is not your own. Have you ever thought about how precious a life is? How difficult it is to create? How loosely and easily it has been for you to take away. Brother, help me. Help me to do what's right. Help me to stop the slaughter of our children. Help me to put an end to the disrespect and the dishonor of our most valuable resource, the black woman. Help me to put an end to the destruction of the young mind through the use of drugs, alcohol. Help me to build up a population of great thinkers, people who create change through thoughtfulness and spirituality. Will you choose that truth? Will you? Will you choose the light over the darkness?
Once I found out the clock was ticking, skip the clock, I'm sticking. Nah, I'm killing, because revenge is all nigga can think about in the end. But I'm going on a bench. Burn till I singe. Born by myself, die by myself. It's triggers. And if you don't know what it's gonna be in the end, T-minus 3, 2, 1. Amen.
Shalom family, and welcome to a new edition of Hebrew Tribes Channel. It's your G Militian coming at you live. First off and foremost, giving all praises to the Most High King, the great I am that I am. That's Exodus 3 and 14. Through the name of the Savior, Yasha, the Messiah, who the world calls Christ. Yasha Yah, meaning my Savior. That's Matthew 21 and 9. All done through the Holy Spirit wisdom. That's Kakamawa in Hebrew. That's Proverbs 8 and 9 and 1. Peace and blessings to the family. I know it's getting crazy out here. It's the same thing. It's just in a new time. It's the same thing. What these people have done is orchestrated a system within a system that's running everything that we see. And the more that we try to deny that, the more we try to overlook it, it's just the more we just trying to get plugged back in like Cypher. Because if you can honestly look at this world and think that it's in decent condition, you think most people have a happy outlook on life, this utopia that they feed us through movies and television and propaganda through the stream of the beast. If you really think that, then you have bought the lie. And it was really that simple, because you can't on one hand say that and then on the other hand say we in the last days or Christ could come back at any time, which that's not biblical. But you can't have both ways. Okay, if it's a utopia, why he coming back? Everybody quote unquote good. Why is he coming back burning and frying up the land? It doesn't make sense. So we're living in a time of confusion. I want to get to the scripture right here. We're going to get to 2nd Esdras 5, 8 through 9. Because it talks about the end times in the book of Esdras. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. Have y'all seen this clip? And I know you can't run it on YouTube because it's quote unquote fighting and violence. But have you seen this clip of these kids jumping this woman with her son? And how it's being skirted, it's being laughed at, it's not yielding any accountability. It's not yielding any, oh, well, hey, hold on. Something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong with the community, because we can look at it today and see the reaction. And I'm not saying that people is cheering this on. Most people do see this as something negative. But the thing about it, you go 20 years back, you go 30 years back, 40 years back, this would never happen. This wouldn't even be a thought. The community that we are in today is not those communities. And we've had people of old, we've had the prophets, we've had, our grandfathers, our great aunts, our grandmothers, sit and tell us, oh, back in my day, such and such and this and that. And a lot of us that were young, we kind of, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you had it tough, but it was real. But something like this is one of those things I call like a marker to see just how far we've fallen. Just like, when you see these, what they call the YNs, the young brothers online, toting pistols and getting at each other and, catching cases and grave sites behind living 2 streets away from where somebody else grew up. We don't see it. We don't see this is how far it's gone. This is how far it's gone. And some people say to the point of no return. I would check that, but I would also say for a remnant. Because this isn't the time to sit up here and get lost in the stream of the beast, because this is the type of things that's coming down the pipeline. But these things were forewritten. If we listen and we pay attention, we would understand that these things that's coming upon, especially upon America, this isn't karma. You know what I'm saying? This is prophecy. This is what is going to happen when these things fall out, is that they wrote about it. Talking about bringing forth monsters. These are the monsters that you see. These, and again, Aaron Magruder, man, on the Boondocks, when he had the story of, I think it was Lamont Freeman, was it Freeman, Lamont? I forget the dude's name, man, Lamont Jackson or something. But you know what I'm saying. The episode they had with a kid smoking with cigarettes, and he was just like a terror. And again, with the accountability thing, when the grandma was on news talking about him, he been through this and been through that, and the whole thing is like, it always is a struggle, but that don't mean that you gotta keep the toxic behavior that came with the struggle. You gotta glorify the behavior that came with the struggle. You want to do better, but don't want to change. And this is where the buck stops, because this is paramount to what I'm talking about here. The children of Israel were prophesied that they will fall to this lower state. This was prophesied from before the time of Christ. So what we are seeing, and this is the norm. This is the norm to see this behavior, or better, I'll say like this: they're making it the norm, because they have control of the media, they have control of this, and then I'm not just blaming the media or the man and this and that, because we play a part in it. See, but we can't do nothing about what they doing, but we could do something about what we doing. And when these kind of things happen and we have no idea who we are, this is why we just so lost in the sauce. We just think, oh, this is something. No, the Most High is literally writing you a letter and mailing it to you and saying, hey, this is going to happen to your people in these days. That's why I say, don't think it a wondrous thing. This is the word of the Father. This is the word. This is why the churches don't pay taxes, because they can't tell you things like this. They are under contract not to tell you things like that. We're gonna read some more scriptures, and I just want to, for my new listeners, think about who this is talking about. Okay? It says, and salt shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into its secret chamber. I remember growing up, like a popular phrase people used to use was, I ain't got no understanding. Oh yeah, they better act right, because I ain't got no understanding. And like, having no understanding, think about it. Is that a person you could start a business with, have a good friendship with, have a marriage with? Can you have a marriage with somebody that has no understanding? Can you have any kind of solid, constructive product come out of something with somebody that has no understanding? And they will play it out. You understand what I'm saying? Friends shall destroy one another. Isn't this the theme that we've seen? This is talking about a certain people. This is talking about a certain time. If we're not those people in that time, then who? Let's get to Jeremiah 4:22, because this is talking about the beast machine. True, we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about how we feed it. We got to talk about how we feed it and how we glorify it, okay? For my people is foolish. This is the Most High talking here through the prophet Jeremiah. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children. Sottish mean hard-headed, bad. You know what I'm saying? Terrible. And they have none understanding. What we just talked about, understanding. No understanding. What can you build with someone with no understanding? Here it goes on to say, they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Wise to do evil. And granted, again, we are put in a position, we are put in a place where, we've had literal agencies after us. Like, they talk about, with the politics has nothing to do with us. The politics is about this European culture versus this European culture. At the end of it, that's what it is. That's all politics is. It's we Europeans that are ruling. We have this system set up, and on the right side, and we the other Europeans rather have it this way on the left side. But we're both serving the same entity. They're just two wings. They just have a different way. They're just saying which way they want to get there. That's pretty much the only difference. They all support the same stuff. They all have the same donors. They all eat lunch and go to the golf course together. They all do this. They are all in the same circles. Don't think this is wrestling. This is wrestling at the highest level. You understand? So when you're under a system like that, yeah, it's going to marginalize the children of Israel. It's going to keep you poor, keep you getting overlooked for jobs, keep you, getting racially profiled even when you don't carry yourself in that way. But the ones that do carry themselves that way, the ones that do glorify, this is why they're given the microphone. People always want to say, well, stop making stupid people famous. Well, they're going to do it. Just don't watch it. That's what we can do. Boycott it. this is who they give the microphone to. This is who they stand behind the podium. This is who they put in front of the crowds. These people that have the most ignorant things to say. Because that is what keeps us under their thumb. Because when we look up and we see, well, dang, they made it. You know, I'm trying to make it. So they put these people in place, these Boule members, these Freemasons, these people that sold out. They're willing to say whatever to the culture because they're getting something from the back end. And they're going to promote those that are wise to do evil, that are have no understanding. Those to do good, they have no knowledge. They'll sit up here and say, like Angel Reese, I seen one with her where she's talking about take God wherever you go, and if God can't go there, then don't go. And you know, I'm like, that sounds good. That sounds like something somebody should say, but what does that, first of all, what does that mean? That's wild. How you gonna take, like, where you taking them to? Like, what are you taking him to? Like, he's the power and you're the creation. How you taking him anywhere? You supposed to be with him, not taking him. You supposed to be with him. But anyway, on top of that, you got her talking about that, and I'm looking at how she dressed. Like I say, you don't have to have on a uniform to be a team player, but in this world, you wear a uniform, you play for the team. You dress how you want to be addressed. So that's, again, that oxymoron, that confusion. This is that time of confusion we were just talking about. It should be a confusion in many places. Let's get down to, and when they promote that, last thing I want to say, when they promote that and we feed into the negativity, that's where the dollars come from. This is why you don't see many positive black movies about black royalty or black kings. Whenever it is, it's done in a Wakanda kind of way, like it's made up. Or what's the other one? Zamunda. You know, it's something. Oh yeah, this could have happened, but you know, we're not gonna do a real movie about a king, African king that lived like that, or a black king that lived like that. Especially if it's outside Africa, they're not doing it, family. That's why it's met with ridicule. And to those Gentile writers, those European writers that are actually honest, they'll write about kings like that. They'll write about Moors. They'll write about trades and things that we know. It's a reason that our people were enslaved. We had skills. You don't try to deal with somebody in servitude that doesn't know anything. Who you think built the White House? Who you think built these plantation homes? I was happened to be watching some clips, and I come across the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In the front of Uncle Phil's house, that's a plantation home, family. This built just like the White House. Well, also built by us. So we were always skilled. So the question always is, who were we before that? And I'm telling you, black people, especially black people in America, whenever you start venturing out and you start understanding those things, that's when the ridicule comes. When you bring out these, even when you even bring out these European authors and historians that have come to the same conclusion that I come to on this channel, that you see many watchmen come to, that you see all of us that are walking in the truth come to, about who we are, our identity, the history, what's to come, what happened, what's happening now, it's met with ridicule. It's met with ridicule because the only thing that they want us to do is be out there thugging and thotting, man. I'm telling you. Oh, and entertaining. If you're not doing one of those two, entertaining. So if they find somebody that's willing to push their agenda, they'll give him the mic. Like Dave came out to my, he wouldn't wear a dress, but then it came out that way beforehand he did.
Black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, you know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. It's the writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. And What? The prostitute? No, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. that should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave, listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. Huh. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So then... Time out.
What is wrong?
I should have never worn these shoes. Just don't match my purse.
Blinking, fix your boobs. You look like a bleeding Picasso. Oh, goodness gracious.
Hey, Robin, what's the matter with you? You have a cold?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Really? That's probably a chest cold. Hey, Robin, you take a temperature?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where'd you stick the thermometer? Oh, very good, Robin. Hey, I'm getting a fever.
Way beforehand, he did. We're going to get into the core. This is what we need to talk about: core values and principles. Because that's going to connect you to the Most High. If you don't have those core values and principles with your faith, you're going to do whatever. We're going to talk more about that toward the end, though. Let's get to Isaiah 5:13. Therefore, my people will go into exile for their lack of understanding. Their dignitaries are starving and their masses are parched with thirst. So our dignitaries, these are the higher ups. These are the people that's supposed to, you know, and I'm not trying to shoot no shot at him because he's sick, but I'm just saying, Jesse Jackson, the Al Sharptons, these people that, you know, these Dr. Umars, these Brother Polites that sit up here and, you know, see our people are searching. Some of us are trying to come out of the Babylonian matrix thinking and getting to who we are, getting to, you know, our diets, getting to what's been hidden from us and different things. I don't want to go too deep, but, you know, things that we medicate. So we're looking into those things, and when we do those, we look into that sector. You're not going to the crazy videos on YouTube, you know, with you know the debauchery. Now you trying to go into, you know, the sector where brothers is, you know, looking at documentaries, you know, sisters is looking at, you know, health and herbal treatments and hair and everything else, and we getting back to that. And again, that's not in your algorithm. They'll put Cardi B and Sexy Red in your algorithm before you see. That's why channels like mine, shadow ban, like, man, I'm not acting like I'm the king of shadow ban, but yeah, I might be a dignitary, you know what I'm saying? All praise, but it's because they don't want us sitting down discussing these things that we discuss on this channel, because they want us with that lack of understanding. And the dignitaries that are starving, these are the head house Negroes they put in place. These people are starving. That's why you be like, man, why would they do that? Why would they wear that? Why would they come out and say something like that? Because somebody told them to, because it was a payday. These people are used as distraction. Most people don't even know who their senator is, who their governor is. They can't tell you about any speaker of the house. They can't tell you anybody besides the president most of the time. You'd be surprised the percentage of people that, and especially now to the past, that don't know the vice president. They don't know him. You know, but they know who Kim Kardashian is. You know, they know who Beyonce is, and Rihanna and Taylor Swift. So why not put these people on Front Street? Why not use these people? These people have more followers than CNN. So when he says something or tweets something crazy, oh, it could be a headline. Why we doing this over here? Yeah, and the masses are parched with thirst, man. Thirsting for knowledge. Y'all ever heard that slogan? Thirsting for knowledge? Yeah. Thirsting for knowledge. So let's this is the knowledge that we need, though. This is the knowledge that we need. Let's get to Psalm 14:2-3. The Most High looks down from heaven upon the sons of men to see if any understand, if any seek God. All have turned away. They have together become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. So this whole thing about, oh, the world's good and, you know, just have a positive outlook. Now, I ain't saying walk around and be, you know, you know, be a stick in the mud, or a wallflower, be angry, or, you know, like, because that's on the Israelite side, that's who they promote. These people they name HIs and, you know, and everything else are HBIs, and the whole thing, man, is, again, that's who they allow their channels to flourish, because that's where they still want us in that angry spirit, even though we've getting more knowledge and we may have came into who we are in different nations in the earth and prophecies. They still want us in that mode. That's why I say this is an inner understanding. This is an inner lesson. Okay, this is something you gotta take on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Because it says here to look and see if any understand. You know, because going to the other side of it, in the world of Christianity, it's taught that, you know, everybody's good, or I know they in heaven looking down, and you know, God's grace covers all, and it's like, nah, man, you ain't read that Bible. Like, it's points where he cuts it off. He cut it off for Solomon. You know what I'm saying? He cut it off for what, Acts chapter 5, the brother and his wife, that it got cut off. Those that take the mark, it get cut off. You know, it's certain things in there when you read, not just under the laws, there's certain things he'll cut you off for, but it's certain things outside of that, like as far as like what's the example, like I just like in stories, that's what I'm gonna say. It's examples in stories where he's cut people off. So it's not all love. There's no such thing as unconditional love. The covenant comes with conditions. You get a car, you sign for it. That thing you sign it, that's the conditions. You know, insurance, when you sign that, it comes with conditions. When you sign a lease, when you sign your mortgage, all that comes with conditions. Okay? This is about order. So a lot of people are out of order. So again, looking at this world, we can see, those of us that can, you dig what I'm saying? We can see that, no, it ain't too many that even trying to do good. We're going to get more into that in the end too, because I'm crushing this Disney notion of the world, man. And I'm not telling you to be angry or be a wallflower. What I'm telling you to do is be vigilant. I'm telling you to have some discernment. You understand? Have some discernment. So when you do meet somebody that is trying to do good, because we all try to do good. There's no good but the Most High. But we can all try to do good. Meet and deal with people that's on that path. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, we all fall short. Yeah, I concluded, man. Straight up. Let's get to it. 2 Kings 2:23 through 25. It says, and he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, this is Elijah, by the way, okay, Elisha. There came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head, and he turned back, and looked on them, and he cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 42 of children of them, and he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria. So, you know, when it comes to my elders, you know, because, you know, like I said, in different fields that I've been in, I've had people that I answer to, and I got people that had to answer to me. And sometimes the people that got to answer to me are older individuals. You did? And what I do is I try to treat them, especially our brothers and sisters, I try to treat them with the utmost respect. Not more respect than anybody else per se, but just with the utmost respect, because, you know, we all, if blessed, are going to reach that age if we continue to live. We are that's the only thing you're going to do is get older, or you the other path, you're going to be in the ground. So as you get older, and you see that's why crimes against the elderly, there's another level of punishment for that. You know, just like you're supposed to respect your elders, period. You understand? And they took that verse in the scripture where it says, you know, rebuke not the elder. They took that out of context. They saying that verse is saying don't rebuke them like you would a child or a dog, or talk down to them, you know, not giving them that respect. That's not saying you can't correct the elder. That's not what that verse is saying. That verse ain't saying it's because, you know, you got some elders that want to throw their weight around that crazy, you know, and talk to you crazy, talk to your kid crazy, hey, you can correct that. You should correct that. You dig? But it's not talking about, oh, you can never correct the elder. No, it's saying you just can't disrespect them in that manner. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be doing that, which is facts. But again, going back to the fight, because there was that fight that happened. There was another fight in another state. Now, I didn't finish reading the whole story of. I want to say it was Minnesota or somewhere, or I forget where exactly. But yeah, there was another one. So, and I've shown videos from 2015. I can't really replay those, but I got one called Reprobate Society, where I'm showing a lot of that. You know, and I'm showing, and it was in Chi-Town. You know, and this was what 10 years ago. I put that video out. So when you look at it, this isn't anything. This is just stuff that keeps getting brought to the forefront. It's going to continue to do so. But it's showing what state that we in. We not respecting our elders. We're not and if anything, we're not teaching our children to. I'm speaking especially in our culture. And a lot of our elders, like there's another verse I don't have here, but it says, you know, they have failed. You know, they want to be out here in the club twerking too. They want to be on the scene too. They want to be Jim Jones and Melissa Ford, you know, Stacey dashing it up too. And this is what it is. It's this fountain of youth that they chase. They always want to be young. Always want to be this and be that. So we got the old want to be young, the young not respecting the old. How can the culture continue like that? When you look at the scriptures and you look at when the father, especially the patriarch of the family, was trying to lead things a certain way, was trying to guide his family a certain way, and you know, the prodigal son, well, the first half of the story, what they do, they want to go out and do their own thing. They want to go out and whatever. And it's like, want to come back and talk about generational wealth in the black family. Well, it's like, if you don't respect your elders, where's the black family headed? If you're not doing that. So this is how the Most High feels about it. And they weren't even punching Elisha in this story. They was just talking crazy to him. They were being disrespectful to him. And the Most High sent 2 she-bears. Got 42 of them. So, you know, one thing I was always taught growing up, you don't disrespect no teacher. No, man, it ain't no way. Now, we might have gotten to it with some other students. I mean, that's what happened. But if a parent would have came out like us, like that would have been a death sentence. You know, when I got home, that would have been a death sentence. And for, like I said, the culture, not just like me individually, like my friends, like that would have been a death sentence for us. But because we live in a culture now where these things get to happen, how far we strayed from the Father. That's why he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I will forget you and your children. So you not adhering to the Most High's word, law, statutes, commandments, knowing who we are, how we need to move, looking into prophecy, you know, basically being a discerner of truth, you know, to rightly divide the word of truth. 2 Timothy 2:15. We're not doing that. We're not diligent in that. So then we look at the next generation. And this is about truth, not religion. This ain't got nothing to do with, oh, well, some people find Islam, some people find Christianity. Are you following the truth of the Most High? The Bible is very clear that it stands alone. It can be backed up by history. It can be backed up by just testing the fruits. By just literally testing the fruits. And not to mention archaeology and everything else. This is why the distractions are so strong, and they put so much attention on it, just to keep you away from those simple things I just spoke on. It's simple. The word of Most High is true. And those that ever tried to come against it and you know, dismantle it and this and that, all they do is just prove it more right. You know, there was a thing, I had a video years ago, shout out to the brothers that shared it and reminded me I need to start resharing it, where they said Exodus never happened. Then they went into the sea and, you know, they found a chariot wheel down there. Coral don't grow like that. You did what I'm saying? And the things that they found in Mount Sinai, things I've shown you, this is why the Syrian government cut it off. But yeah, they found stones with bulls drawn on them, all type of. So it's really devious how they hide the truth from us. But that's why we pushing on this side. So let's get it. Book of Jasher, chapter 19, 1 through 6. So we're gonna talk more about where we at today. And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad in the city of Gomorrah, Nabnak and Admah, and Manon and Zeboim. And Eliezer, this is Abraham's servant, and Eliezer, Abraham's servant, applied to them different names, and he converted Sirach to Shakra, Sharkad to Sharkrura, Zebnak to Kizobim, and Manon to Matzlodin. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him, brought him to one of the beds, and by force made him to lie in them. So this is not, because Sodom and Gomorrah weren't the only cities that were destroyed, okay? It was all those cities that I listed. But they would have beds on the street of the city, and when a man entered, they would require that man to lay in the bed. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. So just like when you see how they did the slaves, you know, they would tie him to a horse, tie to the other horse, and then make the horses run in separate ways. This is the Levi's, you know, their little ass where they be having in the back of the pocket, you know, that was kind of brought out a while ago. That's basically what they would do to these men. Okay. Where's the next one? Okay, and if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. So they basically they taco him up in there if he was longer than the bed. This is, and this, you might be like, man, it sounds wild, but this is why people, even in America, I'm bringing it to America, this is why people stay out of certain cities, stay out of certain areas where this stuff is common. And to be honest, you know, not trying to say we don't know purge stuff, but it can really happen anywhere. But we do have places, cities that people are like, nah, I ain't messing around, because it can go down just that quick. Especially if you're from out of town, you're an outsider. You know, this is the whole thing. When you travel, you're supposed to keep your head on a swivel. But this is what they did. And it said, and if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. So this is what they was about. This was the regularly violent culture. Okay, and if you look at the stats, if you look at the statistics of how many people per capita the U.S. locks up versus the world, we are way above other countries that we deem to be third world or this and that. Way above it. Because the things that are promoted is crime. Think about the TV shows. It's crime. It's all this, things that would lead you to go into prison. This is the whole, when I did the prison planet, this is why they teach you and want you to live like that, because they eventually gonna lock down. This is Agenda 2030 stuff. That's what they want to get to eventually. So all these people talking about universal basic income, you are speaking a very dangerous language. You are speaking because that's what they want. Okay, you basically stamp, you gonna get this much, everybody gonna get this amount, and you know, you'll get promoted due to your servitude. You'll all be issued a state tissue, you know, a state apartment, a state car, a state job, and you'll work these hours, you'll do this, your children will go to I mean, it's already that, but it's going to be like, dang, 1984. We all going to be in great jump. This is where they want to get it to. When you read in the Revelation, for anybody thinking your brother got a 10 for a kufi on, when you read in Revelation, you know, when they give people the mark of the beast, what makes you think they're going to have individuality? Maybe at first. But what makes you think you just going to be out here and be free with a chip in your hand or your head? Worshiping the image. What about that sounds like you'll have the same freedom that, at least somewhat, that we can experience today? It's going away. So this is the whole thing. They made things normal that lead to death. So when you see the whole world come together for the false peace and then be suddenly destroyed, you'll understand that because they sold you a lie about the world, about everything that they told you about the world. They sold you a lie about it. So of course they lie on Christ. This is why, you know, the religious aspect of it needs to be studied if you're going to really follow the Most High, because their version of what they're telling you is in the Bible, and what the Bible says is two different things. We're going to get more into that, though. Let me keep pushing. Let's get to Joshua 18, 11 through 15. I feel like I could really go in on this book of Joshua, like right here, but I'm going to keep it short. In those days, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord, and they promote the Lord with their abominations. And they strengthened in aging abominably, and scornful before the Lord, and their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Lord. So again, what kind of crimes can you think? I mean, if they talking about, you know, okay, so you got to think about what was happening in that time, okay? What was going on in that time, because you have, in Revelation, they say the land that is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, spiritually. So what land is following this? And you have some brothers, that's why I say in the truth, and even brothers that, you know, just call themselves scholars or might be scholars, still look into what they say. Look into everything you hear regarding this, because if they saying, oh, well, Sodom and all that, that's actually talking about Iraq and Iran and over there in the so-called Middle East. And it's like, do you know what happens when people practice the sodomite behaviors that get promoted regularly on Netflix, regularly on Power, and regularly on all these different shows and Black Mirror and all this madness? Do you know what happens to people that live that lifestyle over there? They do the roof jump. You understand? They not playing, man. They doing, I'm trying to not get this taken down. They doing some things. Okay. So it says, and they had in their land a very extensive valley, about a half a day's walk, and in it there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. So this was a place that also looked fruitful. So they doing crazy abominations. All this crazy lawlessness is going on, so much that it's saying it was great before the Most High. That's what they was doing. And then it said what they had, fountains of water and a bunch of herbage. So they wasn't living poor. This was a relatively rich nation. So even what I said earlier, a ghetto over here trumps a ghetto in anywhere else, though, as far as the quality of living. Nah, it's still a hood, still a ghetto, projects, whatever. But a ghetto in Los Angeles over a ghetto in South Africa. Which one would you rather stay in if you really had to make a choice, right? So these people were living better than those that were around, okay? And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in a year, and with their wives and children and all belonging to them, and they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. So when you look at, the 4 times in the years, these are the solstice, that they do. They got the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter. We have the same thing here. We got the Mardi Gras. When you see the Mardi Gras, it would say they was dancing with timbrels and rejoicing with music. That's what that is. So you got the March one, like I said, Mardi Gras time, spring break. Then you got around, the summertime, you got the June worship of the sun. This is the Sol, talking about S-O-L. Around the time of Father's Day. Then in the fall, you got Halloween, where they dressing up like demons, Hallows Eve and all this stuff, and trying to make it Catholic, and then from Catholic make it Christian, then make it, no, none of this is in Scripture. And then the big one that's coming up, you got Saturnalia. Saturnalia, this is the so-called Christmas celebrations you see that have nothing to do with Christ. So these people basically had 4 times a year where they would have these great celebrations, okay? Nothing new under the sun, okay? Nothing new. It's still doing it, just in a different way. Oh, well, what do you mean? Well, don't they go out in the streets and sing carols and be dancing? And if you read what was going on in Saturnalia, yeah, they was getting drunk and and doing the same abominations of Sodom. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Let's keep it pushing though. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the virgin daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor and did not say a word. So this is what we see today, family. This is what we see with this swipe left, swipe right. Like I remember, hearing about open marriages, like, years and years ago, because this is nothing new. It's mainstream now. It's a norm now. And that's when things start to get crazy, when even the debauchery and things of that nature, like stripping and all that, like that was something you had to, look in the back page of a magazine, a page called Backpage, with different little things. And now it's like, shoot, all you gotta do is have an Instagram account. All you gotta do is have a Facebook account. All this stuff is right there. You know what I'm saying? And having your wife, your daughter, this and that, like, haven't you noticed the race of teen pregnancy is insane? Who's watching over these daughters? When did it become the norm for, 3 out of 5 of them to be pregnant and ain't even graduated high school? What can she offer that child? Or what can a father offer that child that created it? What can they offer? You ain't even made it yet. This is what I'm saying. Y'all look at how they pump up, going back to the system side, how they pumping up Blue Ivy and what's her name, Northwest. Like I'm seeing pictures and I'm kind of scrolling, and me and Mom get to talking one, and she like, oh yeah, such and such. Yeah, she only 11. I'm like, 11? And I'm like, nah, ain't no way, because I'm seeing how they posting her up. I'm thinking like she's 16, 17, which she still shouldn't be dressing like that, but that's my opinion. But then you look and you like, dang, they really are doing this. When you look at, and that's why I say, y'all gotta look at Alfred Kinsey. This is why the sexual offenders get out of jail like that. They don't register out, whatever. He's the one that introduced it to Congress. This is a fake, well, so-called doctor that came up and said, oh, well, this is the doctoral evaluation behind SOs and people that, are offenders of that nature. This is the real psychology of them. And this is why they get little slaps on the wrist. You'd be like, dang, so you shot somebody bad enough, you robbed somebody, you sold drugs, that gave you this many years, but this dude over here was messing with his niece, messing with his nephew, messing with, children, at the bus stop, and he get 8 years, he get 2 years, probation in some cases. Like, what? But this is what it is, because they want that. This is why the whole Epstein Island, and before that, Pizzagate. Don't forget Pizzagate. This is why this stuff just, they'll beat the drum for a little while and be mainstream, so you're aware of it. They'll talk about the trafficking on the border. We out here in Texas. They'll talk about that, and then it'll just go away. You'd be like, dang, what happened? Because they're good at distracting. Because a lot of people haven't even been talking about Pizzagate. I've been waiting for somebody to connect the two. It's not just one part. Again, they both do this. And I've been waiting for somebody to connect it, and I haven't heard it. Not saying nobody has done it, but I haven't heard it. I listen to a lot of material online when I do these studies and everything to make sure that, what I'm presenting is factual and true. And this is the word of it. Yeah, so they're making the sex culture the culture. This is something they haven't done before in any history of this country, unless it was with us when we had the sex slave farms. But I'm talking about even that was in the back room. This is they making it mainstream. They're burning the house down on the way out, I'm telling you. And they did so from morning to night, and they afterwards returned home, each man to his house and each woman to her tent, and they did always 4 times in a year. So, this is why, the race of marriages are where they are. This is why the race of divorce is where they are. There's no respect for covenant, just like they didn't have any. They, like, I'm gonna speak on the men's side. It always, as a man, you understand, made me really side-eye dude when he was promoting cuckism. Basically with Will Smith. Oh yeah, I let my wife get around. She do her thing. Like, even if you're doing yours, what? So what's the point of the union then? That's what I'd be like. So what's the point of it? Both of y'all out of it. You're not carrying it, just in face value. So, you know, for these things to become the norm, then they be like, oh, ain't no relationships. Well, I mean, look at it. Look at it. Where is the standards for family, household? Before that, the Most High, Christ. And after that, self. Where's the standards for self? Oh, well, I'm not going to do this. I know I'm better than this. You understand? I'm not going to sit up here and try to have a child that I can't take care of. I'm not going to sit up here and be all around town and get myself involved in some domestic dispute where somebody might lose their life and might be a third party involved. This is a lot of what the first 48 be about. It'd be like, dang, he was talking to this girl, and they met up, and boom, one in jail, one in hell, as they say. So this is the culture that we at, and this is why it's good to be cognizant of this, because this is what we have to be on the lookout for. And it's when you don't think it'll happen to you, it can happen to you. If you're not diligent, if you're not on your guard, even Wu-Tang, protect your neck. You got people, guard your grill, you know, keep your head on the. These sayings, this goes for everywhere. When you go to the grocery store, you don't know what these people with these they find later on, what they call them online, a manifesto where they writing names on bullets and names on it. And a lot of it, you know, like I showed you in the last video, a lot of this be some covert stuff, but people, like I told you in the video, people still lose their lives. Not all of them is just, oh, that nobody died there, it was a big scene. No, sometimes innocents lose their life too. They don't mind making collateral damage of you. If it fits their agenda, and they don't mind. So how do you know? So just, again, be diligent on these things. Because this is the kind of world we in. And my only thing is the people that promote, you know, all this madness that's going on, you can't get mad at the other side then. Because they promoting the same madness just on the other side of it. So you promoting, oh, it's okay if she want to identify as this and he want to identify as that. Well, don't sit over here and say, where are the families then? They over there with them days. That's where they at. Let's get it. Isaiah 54:13. And all thy children shall be taught of the Most High, and great shall be the peace of thy children. So going back to what I was saying, the next generation, like Israel, we got to get into our households and let our children know the truth, the ugly truth. We got to tell them about who they are, what this world really is, what our mission really is, how we should conduct ourselves, carry ourselves, morals, values, the respect that we should have for each other as a family, and then carry that on the outside. You are a representation of the family. You are a representation of our name. You are a representation of the Most High. You understand? So when I don't celebrate these folly days, it ain't because I think I'm better than somebody, or I'm a holy roller or whatever. I'm gonna be somebody. No, it had nothing to do with that. I learned years ago that it wasn't something that we should be doing. Then when I came into the truth, I learned that the Most High hates when we do those things. None of those things have nothing to do with him, though they tie him back into it. And how especially black people, how much do black people hate when you tie them into something they ain't got nothing to do with? Yeah, I seen you over there with Earl. Man, I don't mess with Earl. Man, look, they be ready to fight. So imagine, so if you don't want your name tied, especially imagine it's like some word gossip and somebody throw you in it, now you in HR, and they say, well, yeah, they said you had something to do with that. You about to lose your job or get written up or something, get suspended without pay. You gonna go left. So imagine how much the Most High hates that he's connected to these folly days that's about worshiping false gods. You just got through dressing up like demons, then going to church soon thereafter. Now you talking about it's about family and being thankful. With family you ain't talked to all year. You ain't talked to them. You ain't talked to them. You ain't gonna talk to them till next year. But that's one thing. But then you're saying that you're thankful. It's always about being thankful. Okay, then you'll be thankful. And tomorrow on 11/28, some old lady's gonna get stumped to death behind a crowd of people that need another flat screen TV in their house when they got 3, 4, 5, 6 already. She's gonna get stumped to death for that. She lived a whole life from the mid 1900s to now for somebody to stump her out for LCD Samsung. But I'm the crazy one for keeping my kids from that and showing them the holy days and how these holy days are reflected to our salvation, who is Christ. I'm the crazy one. Okay, let's get to Psalms 137 and 3. For there our captors requested a song, our tormentors demanded songs of joy. Sing us the song of Zion. So this is what I went to in the Koonology, showing y'all how they wanted us to sing songs. Even on the rides over here in those slave boats, they did what? They had us dance and sing. And when you think about it, you look at the stars today. Whenever they do speak out on something. Now, granted, there's different ways that that can be spoken out. But whenever they do, oh, shut up and just play your game. Shut up and just do this. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and throw that football. Shut up and dance. Shut up and sing. Because that's what you were brought here for. That's what you came over here doing. You dig what I'm saying? Who is this verse talking about? Who else did they require a song of? The people that they were captured by and that were tormenting them. If you look at the punishment for slaves, it wasn't always chopping off a leg or killing them or hanging them, though that was a punishment. Absolutely. And, you know, rest in peace to Miss Fletcher, or Mrs. Fletcher, rest in peace, because she died at 111 just last week, and she was the last living survivor of the Tulsa riots. So it wasn't that long ago. Research the Tulsa riots. It wasn't that long. They want to act like, oh, it's early America. That's way back. The woman just died last week. She just died at 111. She was the last living survivor. And it didn't happen the year she was born either. You did? Something to think about. This is where we at, though, right? But yeah, sing us a song. You are here for entertainment. You're here as a side note. That's why you were 3/5 of a person originally in the Constitution. This is why. So let's get to Romans 1:18. For the wrath of Ahiah is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Now this is the thing. I notice when I'm talking to somebody like, you know, off the street, maybe a gang member, maybe it's a club girl, was a bottle girl, you know, hustlers, stuff like that, go-getters, about the truth, you know, and I'm sitting there, we having a conversation, much like we do on this channel, right? It's received. And it's not because they're not quote unquote living right, like when they seen Yasha sitting with people that were said to be, you know, of less moral value, right? But just like the thief on the cross, he knew it was wrong and right. He knew, like, man, we should be up here. He telling his homeboy, we should be up on this tree because we were thieves. We was breaking the law. We were doing things punishable by death. But Yasha's sitting right here on the tree next to us. He has done no wrong. Can't you see it? I mean, what did Yasha tell him? You know, that he will be in the kingdom. I'm paraphrasing, but he'll be in the kingdom. And that's not saying you could live crazy and then be like, oh yeah, I know the Lord was right, and think you can make it. That's not saying that, because that's not how, that's the deathbed confession thing. That's Hollywood, okay? But he didn't. The point of that statement is he didn't hold the truth in unrighteousness like the other thief on the cross. He didn't hold the truth in unrighteousness. Just like I say, some people that's struggling and going through it and having to, you know, maneuver in this world how they feel like they have to maneuver in this world, and they hear this truth, they're not necessarily holding it in unrighteousness when they acknowledge it and they move forward with that. But the next thing is, on that moving forward, are you going to move forward with it, knowing it, and still do it? Or are you going to move forward and try to be a better person than you was yesterday? Because that's where it comes down to. But what you're going to see is the majority of people, and this is the truth about the majority of people, do not hold the truth in righteousness. They hold the truth in an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience. Oh, you're not coming home for the holidays? No, man, I don't celebrate. No, in those days, I mean, I'm off of work. Oh, so you celebrate? No, I'm not celebrating. I'm not doing the rituals. I'm not hanging this up and doing this and putting this outside and lighting. I'm not doing none of that. I do the holy days. Oh, okay. So what you trying to say? So if I don't do that, then I'm displeasing. Man, the Most High said, he said it. I didn't tell you. He told you. I'm just telling you that's what I believe too. I'm in that same vein. Yeah. It's unrighteous. It's ungodliness. And that's where his wrath is. So who's the argument with? Is it with me or with him? This is where we need to be, family. Right in this spot. Right in this spot. Ungodliness and unrighteousness of men. Where in your life is there unrighteousness, ungodliness? We all struggling with something. Some of us lust. Some of us anger, temptation, envy, jealousy, murderous thoughts. These things proceed, before it proceeds from the mouth, it proceeds, like y'all say, the mind and the heart. You know, through your speak, you formulate through your mind and your heart how you feel and how you think, how you move. We need to check that in ourselves first. This is why I say this is a self-evaluation as well. We got to check that in ourselves, because that's where the wrath is. So it's not just, you know, oh, this person, that person did. No, we all need to check it within ourselves. But where you go from that, that's strictly the judgment between you dealing with the Father. That's it. But it doesn't stop the truth from being the truth, because somebody don't want to hold it in righteousness. It don't stop it. If you got a drinking problem, if you got an anger problem, if you got a lust problem, if you got a you know, you mouthing off problem, talking crazy to people, you know, just being a malignant person, you got that problem, that don't just go away because, oh, well, this is how I am, because you know how the world is. I can't come out here and be soft. No, that ain't got nothing to do about being soft. Is that righteous? Is that how we want to carry ourselves? Is that the path that's going to lead us into a better life? Pleasing the Most High? Being a good example for those that are under our authority? This is why the world is in the position that it is. These things ain't being done. Ephesians 5 and 6. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of such thing the wrath of Ahiah is coming on the sons of disobedience. So when they got these televangelists on here on TV, going back to Dolby, when he said that everybody on TV has been vetted, you know, by the CIA, I believe it. You're not getting that kind of airtime, and I've heard this from people that's been on TV previously, whether they went on a news channel, not necessarily had a show, but they would say, you know, before you, like if they were calling me to go on Fox, they would never do that, because first of all, they're gonna have somebody vet me. They're gonna look at the page, they're gonna look at what I'm saying, what am I on there to talk about, what are my I'm gonna have to give them pre-answers to the questions. So when certain people say, oh, but I see them arguing sometimes they do that for ratings, and sometimes they going off script. But what they do, they go to commercial. They gonna cut it off because they're in control of that system. So they're not gonna just have me come on there and say anything. Okay, so they put people on there that are gonna say what they want to say. They put people up on TV and news and radio and influential people and rich people. Going back to Sirach 6 and Sirach 13, I believe, where it talks about how they uphold the rich man's words, and you know, when if a poor man say something wise, they look to overthrow him. Yeah, who is you? You ain't got nothing. You ain't better than Jay-Z. You ain't better than, you know, insert name here. So we look at it and we see these things, these images and all these things that they put up. And these people, just because they're rich or famous or popular, their words are empty. The words have no substance. They don't have preaching like this on CBN or TBN. They're not going to have, not that what I call doing preaching, this is watchman work, but you get the point. They're not going to have that. They're not going to even go into these verses. And if they do, they'll have a different interpretation. I'm telling you this because this is the facts. But yeah, going back to the wrath, because those empty words, you know, everybody's everybody, you know, we all fall short, and these soothing words, though, yeah, there's some truth to it, but then what? Okay, yeah, everybody's everybody. What does that mean? Everybody's doing their own thing. Well, shouldn't we have a standard? Shouldn't we have a standard where we say, and this is correct and this is not correct? This is how we should move. This is how we shouldn't move. This is what's best for our community. This is what's not best. We're not doing that no more. There was a time when that was done to a certain extent. It's completely off the rails. All this, it takes a village. Can't nobody tell your child nothing. Can't nobody say, hey, man, you shouldn't be jumping on that car. Don't talk to my daughter. Let her do what she wants. You can't. The fathers of these children being absent, we got a 72 plus now, it's at 80% single parent home rate. Like, that covering is gone. That order is gone. So how are we expecting to do something good out of something bad? Does it happen? Yes, but I'm saying, what is the majority have? What's the majority going through? Is the majority good or bad? And this is more into the disobedience, because without order, you by default have disobedience. By not knowing the truth, not following order, and the order is of the Most High, the truth is of the Most High, you automatically have disobedience. So if I don't believe like you, but I love God, I'm like, well, you believe like me if you believe what the word say and you walk in that. That's what's gonna show it, not me and you going back and forth and debating. No, it's gonna be about if your beliefs is gonna be shown through your faith. Like I say, simplest thing, you're not gonna go work at a job that check's always bouncing. These fly-by-night companies, you're not gonna work for them because you don't believe you're gonna get paid. So your actions is gonna show, no, I'm not going to work. But if you got a good job giving you benefits, 401k, you're gonna be there Monday morning at 8. Am I lying, family? So this whole thing, the sons of disobedience, yes, by default, if you're not keeping the law, statute, commandments, walking as Christ, doing the things he did, including the baptism, and including, the adherence to Sabbath days and keeping the Sabbath, all of that, that is what you're going to be judged. This is what Judgment Day is about. Well, Judgment Day, what is he judging you on? When you go to court, what do they judge you on? I mean, this is just, I don't know. It's like when it comes to, that's why I say I don't do religion, because when it comes to religion, it becomes this magical thing and not something like solid. Like we all have to have faith and just, make it up in our heads. No, there's a truth. There is a truth. The word is the truth. 1 Thessalonians 1:10, and to wait for his son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead, even Yahshua, which delivered us from the wrath to come. So sometimes when they translate the old English, it'll have, like delivered, but it's really he who is going to deliver us from what the wrath to come. I just talked about the wrath. Going back to the movies, like I said 1,000 times, these end of the world movies, I show old clips because I can't show any of the stuff on Netflix. I can't show any of the stuff on HBO per se, because even with their bots, they'll take it down. But you get what I'm saying. They're not having movies like Terminator and iRobot and I Am Legend and Book of Eli, and they're not having movies like This Is How It Ends. I mean, they're literally telling you in the title, this is how it ends. They're not having these movies just for entertainment. These movies are subliminally programming you to move in a way that they want you to move when these things start to come down. And number two is, in the highest level of Satanism, they believe if they tell you what they're doing, even jokingly, that it absolves them of the punishment of that sin. You know what I'm saying? They believe that. This is why you'll be like, man, they really put the truth out in that movie. They really put the truth out in this artist, they let artists get away with a track. Hey, I want to do a track about, corporation and corruption. Okay, we'll let you do one, and they'll let them do one. You be like, man, it won't get as much play as the booty room tracks, but hey, are the shoot 'em up tracks, but we'll let it get out. We'll let them. So then you can't say, oh, I didn't know. Then when that artist, might pass later on, or get sick or something happen, then they start going back and being like, man, like they was really saying this. Like me and a brother at work was talking about when you look back at Who's Peeping in My Window, what was CeeLo talking about? But then he comes out in a dress, so you take it for what you will. But he said the truth when he was talking about government assassins ain't knocking or asking, they kicking their doors, and computer chips for the New World Order. He was rapping this in the 90s. So but they don't want too much of that out there, because why? You'll wake up from it and you'll be delivered by Yasha. They don't want that. This is why they changed his name, his color, everything. They want you following a person that they created, the Jesus man, the Caesar Borgia of the Christian church. That's who they want you following, who don't care what you do. This is why they make fun of them in movies and all types of TV, and comedians get up. That's who they make. That's who they're talking about. They're not talking about, because the stuff that when Paul talk about preaching another Christ, that's the other one. If all you gotta do is read the Bible, and you'll see one was flipping tables and one was saying peace to all men. So let's get it. Ezekiel 7:8-9. It says, very soon I will pour out my wrath upon you and vent my anger against you. I will judge you according to your ways and repay you for all your abominations. I will not look on you with pity, nor will I spare you. Remember when I said there's verses where the grace is gone? It's gone. But I will punish you for your ways and for the abominations among you. Then you will know that it is I, Ahiah, who strikes the blow. So I'm reading from a different version than that, just to show the brothers and sisters that may be watching this for the first time that this is what he's saying. He's saying the same thing. Yeah, they might have changed different words in different translations. The NIV is completely dead because they took out so many verses and changed so many things. But I'm showing you in this new language translation, because when I read it, I'm like, look at what he said. It's very plain right here. For the abominations among you, you will know it is who? The Most High who strikes the blow. He has anger against who? You, according to your ways. This is what I'm talking about. This is going back to that inner understanding that we don't want to be in that wrath. We don't want, because it's coming. It's coming. We are slow, and I think the way the economy is, you can talk to anybody about the economy, black, white, whatever side of the aisle they want to vote on. It don't matter. When it comes to them numbers and the conditions that we in, and the food and all these truths that are coming out, that's part of the flood. But that's actually kind of a good thing, because it's showing that these things aren't occurring. Because 20 years ago, somebody said, "Hey man, they watching me through the TV. The microwave is talking to me." Now we got smart microwaves. Now we got smart refrigerators. It's people that could literally run their whole house from their phone, get stuff ordered, brought in, everything. I mean, it's crazy. You can hire a service for everything. You don't have to do anything. You understand? And I'm telling you, it's all by design. That's all I'm saying. It's all by design. And now we can see it. It's not just a tinfoil hat or the dude walking around in pajamas, 30 years ago saying this, and we like, oh, he crazy. Now we seeing this. We living in the Jetsons age. They're making cars like the Jetsons. Literally, the Jetson was in the jet, son. You know what I'm saying? Literally, they making these things for us to ride in. They're doing all of that and more, man. So, when you look at Elon's Neuralink, all that, man, you got to get into that word and decide what side you on. The world has already chosen the side. Let's get to 1 John 5:19. It says, and we know that we are of Ahiah, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So I'm back to that. The whole world. This is New Testament now. It says what? The whole world lie in wickedness. You only know that if you are the Most High. When you be trying to convince somebody or talk somebody new, or maybe, the conversation goes that way and they just tell you that, you like, yeah, man, this is messed up over here. And, how they doing, the water and the chemtrails. And not saying you just going crazy, but the conversation goes there. They be like, yeah, I read something about chemtrails. And you like, yeah, man, they spraying this in the air. And, allergies have went up this many percent. And, you just having a fruitful convo. And they're like, oh, no, they wouldn't do that. No, I fought for this. My dad fought for this country. So I'm like, do you really, or do you not, are you really blind? And that's what it is, spiritually blind. Because if you look at these people that go missing, which this should be a study in itself, because the number of people that go missing, these people just vanish, just end up anywhere, or never be found. And when you look at that, those people, when you lose somebody, or you lose, you see a family lost a kid in the mall. I have a story about this. Once the kids had this friend over, and she would come over and she would play, and her parents lived right across the way. I remember we lived upstairs, and we could literally see straight out, where the at that time, where the mom and dad was. And she'd come over, they play for their amount of time, then she would go home, and I would always watch. So just watch, make sure she made it. And it was one time, she left, and she went, and I think I was washing dishes, because we had like a window. I'm watching, I'm like, she'd be all right. I seen her, walking toward that way. So I'm going back to washing dishes, everything. All of a sudden, it's like, a knock on the door, and this is like when it started getting dark early. So a knock on the door, I'm going to answer the door. It's the law, man. I'm like, okay, well, what's up? what's going on? He's like, yeah, was such and such at your house? I'm like, yeah, she was out playing with the kids. She went home. No, she didn't. So I'm like, what? You know, and so the whole neighborhood's outside. You know, the parents are out, mom's out. I'm like, look, I watched her go that way. I was washing dishes. I was, you know, she's been over there. I didn't watch her make it to the door. And so she's calling people, and, you know, and the cops are like, look, we're going to have to ask you something. I'm like, man, ask me whatever you got to ask me, because I don't play with that, you know. And I felt so bad because I was the last one. You understand? And I went and I sat outside, leaned against, you know, waiting to see if they got to ask me whatever, you know, if they, you know, need a statement from the kid, whatever they needed, you know. Girl comes skipping down the sidewalk, and the eruption, man, it was strong. And, you know, ran to the mom's on the mama, hugging her and yelling at the same time. Of course, she decided when she left my house, oh, you know what, I'm going home. You know, wait a second, I can go over here to Sally's house. So she did a U-turn and went to another friend's house. Never had her mom call. The other friend's mom didn't call or whatever. So, you know, and and ever since then, I'm like, nah, we making sure. So we would make, you know, I would walk her, and, you know, we was cool with the parents and everything after that. You know, like I said, it was a time, you know, when we stayed in a different area. But the point of the story is that when I look at it and I see what fear, you know, took over those parents, because it happened, you know, with my children later for a different story, but the fear that you feel when you can't find your child, especially if the child is really young like that. Like, I think the girl, she couldn't, 5, 6 maybe. And the fear, because you know this world is wicked. That's when it's unspoken. You don't have to tell a person how bad. They know all that, oh, the world's good, all that's out the window when you lose a child. Because you understand at that point, mine is at risk out there, and I know what's out there. Yeah, they're good people. Yeah, no, of course. There's times where they find just like that, or other times where, you know, if the child wandered off and, you know, got into a car with somebody, and maybe, you know, but nothing happened to the child. The child was returned. There's times when there's good people. Like, hey, where's your mom? What are you doing out here? Okay, well, you know, they'll take them to the police station or what. They'll do the right thing. But when you lose a child, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about this verse I just read. The whole world lieth in wickedness. Tell me I'm lying. That's what you think about. Let's get to the second, the next verse on that. And we know, I'm gonna read that again. Matter of fact, and we know that we are of a higher, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. You know that this world is wicked, and we know that the Son of a higher is come and have given us an understanding. Given us what understanding? What I read in the beginning about people with no understanding. You get it through the Most High, through Yahshua, that we may know Him that is true, and we are in Him that is true, even in His Son Yahshua HaMashiach, who the world calls Christ. This is true God. This is the true Most High, a higher, and eternal life. That is the true. Okay, when you have that understanding, and it says the last verse: "Little children, keep yourselves from idols." Amen. Or Amen. Why would He say that at the end? That's the main thing. When you look at the 10 Commandments, what was the first thing? It was about dealing with idols. The first commandments had to do with dealing with what? With idols. Idols not just meaning the statues or shrines people make or whatever. It also refers to anything you'll put ahead of the Most High. You'll say, I'm going to do this ahead of Him. Yeah, I'm going to chase this money ahead of Him. I'm going to chase these women ahead of Him. I'm going to chase these men or pleasure or drugs or whatever ahead of Him. That has become your idol. That is what you do. This has become your walk, not that one. So think about the stream I talked about with the people that they put in place and to entertain us, to be our quote-unquote leaders. These black folk that they say are our leaders, these black celebs. How are they our leaders? What are they leading us to? If you're a leader, where are you leading to? So let's get to Isaiah 66, 3-5. He that killeth the ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrificeth the lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense, as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. This is why, again, around these folly days, their soul delighteth in this stuff. You can't tell them this ain't what we supposed to be doing. We got holy days that we can do these things as far as meeting with family, if this is about the family. If it's about serving the more, if you're trying to put God on it, well, what guy you talking about? Because the Most High, the Bible ain't dealing with any of these foolish days. But it says when he sees them cutting that ham, when he sees that Christmas ham, that Thanksgiving turkey, when he sees that, what does it say he feels about it? As if you cut off a dog's neck. For those that have dogs, think about that. He that offer an oblation, as if he offered swine's blood, as if you poured out pig's blood. That's what he sees that as if he blessed an idol. That's what the Most High sees it as. So why do it? And you're not getting nothing out of it. All you getting is fleeced more by these corporations that's taking all your money and not hiring you and raising rates on prices on everything. And then the little time you do have the rest from work, you're spending it running around today. Right? So it says here, I will choose their delusions. I will bring what? Bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear that we need to follow the truth. They look at this as, like I say, an option and not a favorable one. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. When I'm saying he don't delight in these holidays, it's not me saying it. I'm just saying what he said. He don't delight in it. He don't. Hear the word of the Most High. Ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Most High be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. So, when they cast you out, not my Jesus and not my God and my pastor or whatever, and they decide to keep doing whatever they're doing, this verse right here is saying, that's okay, that's going to happen, but when he shall appear, it'll be to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. They're going to realize that this truth, that when Yasha say, that this truth had to hit four corners, then the end will come. They're like, Master, when will the end come? This is the truth he's talking about. That truth of Christmas being biblical. Now, if you want to call it Christian, that's one thing, but calling it's not biblical. Jeremiah chapter 10 is clear on that. And that's just one of them. But I'm just pointing that out as one. It's clear that the Most High is not in any of these days, in any of these celebrations. And it's clear that, what does it say? Ye that hear, that tremble at the word, your brethren that hated you. When you really following this, and I think people know that. People know when you really trying to get right, you're going to lose a lot of people, man. You're going to lose friends, family. You might lose your significant other. But is that a cost you're willing to take? I can say I've taken it, and I continue to take it. Because it's not a grievous thing to do this. Like, the way religious minds think is that when you following the word, you're sitting in the room with a Bible and no lights is on, or you got one candle burning and you leaned and you hunched over and you just read that and go to sleep. You don't go watch no games. You don't go, take your kids out. You and your lady don't go out, or you and your man don't go out. Like, y'all don't crack jokes. Like, y'all don't, go have outings. No activities. That's what that's what they think. They think, oh, I just can't do nothing. I can't eat nothing. I can't. Like, no. Like, that's a loser mindset. But that's the religious mindset, because that's how they look at it. But it's funny, they won't look at pastor like that. They'll look, because he's preaching a different gospel. Or you can basically do what you want and please forgive me at the end and I'm good. And it's like, no, that type of thinking is not what the scriptures talk about. The scriptures talk about, he want to give you life more full. So if you're, for example, getting off the holidays, if you're not eating these abominations, you're gonna have a prolonged life. If you're doing everything else right, of course. I mean, you can't say I'm not gonna eat that, but I'm a I don't know. You fill in the blank. I'm a jump out of airplanes for a living. Oh, I died. I guess no, that had nothing to do with that. One had nothing to do. I'm talking about if you're keeping the dietary laws, the same stuff, a lot of the stuff that Dr. Sebi was talking about introducing a clean bill of health to yourself through your dietary habits, that is meant to prolong your life, not make you suffer. But you don't see people in the gym, you don't see people fasting, doing intermittent fasting, that complain about these same things. These people that say that they want this and want that out of life. Well, if you do, more power to you. But what are you doing? Faith without works is dead. What are you doing to get to that? We're not willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? So those that do it and encourage others to do so, they looked at it as everything bad. You know, and it's like, what about doing better? You know, we always say, or we have a saying, I'm a work in progress. We all are. But what is the work? They don't want to do the work. They don't want to do, and then they want to believe that they got all this spiritual stuff figured out. This is not something you just get figured out. This is something you live and come back to. You go out there, live life, bump you in the head, you come back to the word. Go out there, try to do better, come back to the word. Go out there, might slip again, come back to the word. Go out there, do better for a period of time, come back. It's like training, man. This is why you see some athletes, they retire and they turn into Homer Simpson. And you see other athletes, they retire and you see them 20, 30 years later, they look great. Or some people that was in the industry, they retired, they look great because they continue to move, continue to build themselves up and keep themselves in order, maintain. Just like a house. You can't have a house that's like, I'm just going to live here and run the water and run electricity and nothing's ever. No, at some point you're going to have to get inspections. At some point you're going to have to change out pipes. You might have to change, fix the foundation, the roof, things shift in the house, because of the stuff, it be all type of things. You might, want to knock this wall down because I want to, just put the den with this room or whatever. You're going to have to maintain that house. Have you seen a house that just sat for 30 years? So why would you let your faith just sit for 30 years, 40 years? You haven't went through these scriptures. You haven't acknowledged and said, man, this is what he's saying. All right, who is he talking about? Who is he saying the ox know its owner and the ass know its master's crib? My people, they do not consider. Because the people they telling me is the people, they over consider that they're the people. But then if that's the case, why is Yasha coming back with fury? If the Most High's people are in rulership, why is his son coming back in fury? You haven't done that work, and this ain't no shot. My thing is, why not do that work? You do that work when you watching the series, when you watching, everything else. So for those of us that is doing the work, just keep doing the work, because that seed planted, you don't know what is going to be. But when they cast you out, when it seems as if they hate you, don't worry about it, because the fight ain't with you. The fight is with the truth. The truth will be the truth regardless of feelings and emotions. So let's get the Amos 5:21, okay? It says, yea, the day of the Lord or the Most High will be dark and hopeless, without a ray of joy or hope. So for these people, can't wait till he come back. You sure about that? Because this is hell on earth, y'all. This is hell on earth. They're literally, because they think that the devil's ruling in hell and he the king of hell. No, this is his kingdom. The prince of the air. I could make a strong case, and I'd like to maybe come at y'all in a lawyer suit, you dig, in a courtroom, and lay out my case that this isn't, I'm not one of them dudes saying that this is hell and there's no afterlife. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is hell on earth, and then there's a hell in hell. Okay, so let me say that there's a hell in Hades, or in the underworld, but there's also a hell that's on top of the earth, because Satan ain't down there. It says he walked the earth like a roaring lion. He ain't down there yet. When he gets thrown, he gonna get thrown in the lake, but that's at the end. But he ain't down there. So, yeah, the day of the Most High is gonna be what? Without a ray of joy or hope. It's gonna be a day of darkness. So, This is that getting that oil in your lamp. It says, I hate all your show and pretense, the hypocrisy of your religious festivals and solemn assemblies. Remember I talked about the hypocrisy, how you thankful today and tomorrow you're going to get up tomorrow at 1 a.m. to go stump an old lady for a microwave. Like, this is insane, but this happens every year. Every year I point out, people are like, yeah, that's just what it is. Again, that Sodom and Gomorrah, hey, this is how they do it in the city. You see the mirror? It's the same thing. The hypocrisy of your religious festivals and solemn assemblies. He says here, I will not accept your burnt offerings and grain offerings. He's not accepting the hot cross buns of Easter. He's not accepting it. He's not accepting your turkey that you're making today. He's not accepting it, family. I'm not saying this. He's not accepting it. This is what he's saying. I know people say, oh, well, he's talking about how the Israelites were going off during their festivals. And there's verses where that was the case. But understand, when he says your religious festivals, he's saying you are doing festivals to other gods. That's what he's saying here, okay? I won't even notice all your choice piece of offerings. Away with your noisy hymns of praise. He don't want to hear your songs. Your Christmas tree, Christmas tree. He don't want to hear none of them songs. He's not in it. Because these religious holidays that you're celebrating, these are sacrilegious. Well, I ain't gonna say sacrilegious. I'm gonna say pagan, because that's what they really are. They are pagan. They could be called sacrilegious, but I'm gonna call them pagan, because they are dealing with other gods, other entities that are not of the Most High. And you celebrate these days, and hell continues on earth. You've been celebrating these days for 20 years, and hell continues on earth, family. Are y'all listening to me? You've been bringing a tree in your house for 30 years. You haven't questioned anything. You've been doing Valentine's Day for your whole lifetime. How have the relationships gone in the last 30 years? If we were to pull out our pens and pencils and our calculators and go through the beautiful game footage, how is that helping? Because if it ain't of the Most High, it's not going to last. It's not going to end good for you. This is why we in a hell on earth. And that doesn't discount the hell that's in Hades. You understand what I'm saying, family? He's not in it. It says, I will not listen to the music of your harps. Instead, I want to see a mighty flood of justice, an endless river of righteous living. This is righteous living. Because I'm going to tell you, but I gave up the holidays before I discovered that they're pagan. Before, like I tell people, before I understood how he felt about them. And there's a freedom with it. Now what I try to do is I try to shop before the holidays. Like if I got to go get groceries or whatever, I try to get that beforehand. Why? Because I know if I wait too late, I'm going to have to deal with the crowds fighting. You know, I took the kids to get some donuts just this morning, and they was in the parking lot fighting, going crazy. The aisles crowded, people in there with lists, looking scared, looking around, looking confused, like Joe Biden. You understand? Because they're rushing, like I said, I mean, I feel like a broken record. You're rushing to keep a day that has nothing to do with the Most High and then attaching them to it. You can see your family all year, but you choose to do it because this is about a day when they were conquering, a day when they were taking over, a day when the same oppressive system that's still oppressing you today, they said, we're going to celebrate this because this is when we really had a takeover, where we really did our manifest destiny and Trail of Tears and all that, and really wiped out the natives and mixed in with the tribes and then did the $5 Indian thing. And then this is a day we going to celebrate. And this is coming from the president. This ain't coming from just the generals and the higher ups, even though General Lee did write that. It's coming from the top. I'm telling y'all got to do your research, man. Y'all got to do your research. This is a day of death. That's why they call it Thanksgiving. Was it to me you were bringing sacrifices and offerings during the 40 years in the wilderness, Israel? Was the wilderness about sacrifices or obedience? Yeah, you going out doing this with family, going out doing, but is today today about that to honor him, or today about that to honor the tradition of man? And don't feel bad about not celebrating. I hear people, oh, I don't want to make it. Don't feel bad about not. You doing what you supposed. You really doing what you're supposed to do. Stay on that path. Don't let the world sucker you in, because there's a verse in Jeremiah was like, You know, if you say you don't celebrate, but you go and get a plate and hang out and all that, what's the difference between you and them celebrating? Tell them come see you the day before. Tell them come see you the day after. Then you got 51 other weekends of the year that you can meet. You can do all this. I told Sister One, because Sister was like, you know, one holiday I'm struggling with. Shout out to Sister. This ain't no shot against her. She watching this. You know, salute. I'm just using this story. No names given. But she was like, yeah, I'm having trouble. She was saying something like, what should I do about Thanksgiving? Like, you know, because that was one time I really looked forward to this and the stuffing. And well, I was like, well, sis, it's cold now. I think it was like October or something. Like, it's a regular. I'm like, all those foods you just listed, because, you know, sis wasn't eating pork or nothing. I say, you could cook that next week. Go get your stuff next week. I'm like, the grocery store's going to be empty. You can do it. You don't have to, why you gotta wait till their day? So, but right here, he's saying, no, you serve your pagan gods, Sakuth your king, and Kawan your star god, the images you made for yourself. So these, again, going back to what I was saying, these holy days is not these holidays. The holy days of the scriptures is not the same. Even though they want to tie the Most High in, they want to tie Christ in it. That's a different God. That's a different Christ that you're serving when you do that. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's what you're doing. And then you can't turn around and say, oh, it's hell on earth. This is why. This is why, because you're serving the gods of hell. These Kawan and Saku, these are talking about the Molech. This is talking about the 6-pointed star. Okay? You know what that's about. The images you made for yourselves. So I will send you into exile. This is it, going back to who did he send into exile? A land east of Damascus, saith the Most High, whose name is the God of heaven's armies, who is the host of the heavens. So this is what I'm saying, Israel. As long as we continue to serve other deities, not come back to the Most High, the debauchery will continue, the hedonism will continue, the materialism will continue, the killings will continue, the thotting will continue. It will continue, because when you're serving the Most High and the holy days, that serves as a barrier to everything I listed. Because you're not going to be serving the Most High Passover and be thinking about some adultery. Because no, you in it trying to deal with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be on Purim thinking about thieving. No, this is a day of gift giving. This is a day because it's connected to the Most High. It's not connected. So Christmas, don't think, oh, shoot, I might have to go hit a couple stores. You know, crime spikes during Christmas, right? It don't spike for those of us in the truth during Purim because we on the side of the truth. And I'm just trying to get you to come over to the side and in the least peep over and see what's going on over here, because keeping all these things that we're keeping is keeping hell on earth. It's feeding the beast. We are feeding the beast. I had to realize I was feeding the beast, because I was looking for a job, and it was around the holiday time. At that time, the lady I was with, we were going through it. You know, I was real worried about how I was going to, make it out of this one. You know, my money was starting to get a little better, but it still wasn't where it's supposed to be, and I was stressing. I was going through it, and I was like, you know what? I don't even feel like, why would I celebrate a holiday? I'm sitting here trying to get my life, like me going out trying to do that, and I'm going to have to drive everywhere and pick this up and do that, and these people ain't even really messing with me. I'm like, on blood. I'm like, well, I might as well just go find me a job and work. And at the time, that's what I did. I had a job that I had holiday pay. So I did that and built myself up, and all praise to the Most High. I bought at that time, because of the money and the hours and constant hours I was getting, I was able to buy a lot of equipment I still use today for this channel. So then I come into the truth, and I see, and like I said, I encourage everybody, just take a year off for the folly days. Take a year off and just sit back and peep the world, and you'll see how crazy that the world get. You'll see how crazy they are during spring break, and the things that go on there, are people getting shot and all type. You'll see the craziness during Christmas, where depression is hitting the ceiling, everything going crazy. Valentine's Day, people find out they getting cheated on. You'll see all this. All these holidays are linked to debauchery, each single one of them.
Every single holiday that we celebrate is celebrating one of the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
Think about it. The easiest one, Valentine's Day, celebrates the sin of lust.
Okay, okay.
Now, Thanksgiving, that celebrates the sin of gluttony.
Gluttony, yeah,
Because you're eating a lot. You're overeating. You're taking too much more than you need.
Yeah.
Now, Christmas, what do you think that is?
Greed?
Greed, overconsumption, and excess.
Okay.
Right? We're celebrating gifts. We're not really even celebrating like the birth of Christ because people are so focused on the gifts and shit. Now, Easter, this one's interesting. Check this out. This one gets deep. They say it's envy because the Romans were jealous of Jesus, so they murdered him. St. Patrick's Day, it's sloth because people get blacked out drunk.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Now, Halloween is what? It's wrath. So scaring and hurting people for fun. With masks, it's wrath. There's one more, the sin of pride.
Okay, what's that?
Independence Day.
Okay,
It's like
makes sense.
celebrating.
Because the whole thing about the hell on earth thing is because if they're going to keep this system going, this wicked system going, they have to have days that glorify the wicked system, family. You can go to Leviticus 26:14. It says, I am a higher power, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye should not be their bondmen. I broken the hands of your yoke and made you go upright. So he's freeing, this is the time he's freeing the Israelites from captivity, from the land of Egypt, been bondmen and bondwomen. The natural or the new translation for that bondmen, bondwomen is slave. This is what he's talking about. He says here, but if ye will not hearken unto me and will not do all these commandments, and if ye shall despise my statutes, his rules, right? If your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I will also, what? I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart. This is what I'm talking about, the hell on earth. When you're going against them, this is why it happens. And the Gentiles are in rule. You know what I'm saying? The SOS is in rule. The SWS is in rule. They're the ones that are orchestrating all this, and everybody's following along with it. But when you follow along with it, judgment starts at the house of who first? The house of Israel first. It starts at the Yasharal, the family, the 12 tribes. That's why you got put into captivity. That's why you can't find a job. This is why you are here struggling. This is why you can't seem to have a community that keeps families and relationships and parental guidance in order. These are generational curses. We talk about generational wealth, but we can't do that without first addressing the generational curses. But this is that hell. Look, what does he say? Terror, consumption, the burning ague that shall consume your eyes and cause sorrow of heart. And ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. Everything that we tried to do, all the patents, the inventions. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why ain't we rich behind this? Any other culture that did that would be rich behind it. I guarantee you. You inventing the traffic light, you inventing AC, you inventing all types of liquor and you know, daily appliances, doorknobs, game systems, remote controls. You think anybody, any other culture or race that invented all that would not be profiting from it until today? Everything we've sown has been eaten up because we haven't first got right with the Father. We got to get right with him first to truly prosper. He's given us grace. I'm not saying we ain't nothing, but I'm saying we haven't got that. This is the foundation. If the house foundation is wrong, it could be a mansion. The foundation still ain't right. The house is going to topple when a storm comes. He says, and I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you. Again, who is he talking about? They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, I will punish you 7 times more for your sins, because we are the children of Israel. This is why it says the last shall be first. Who's last? Who's last? If we had to rate, if we had to look at Egypt and the Israelites of that time, who mirrors that? Who's first and last in this economy, in this world, in this nation? It says, and I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron and your earth as brass. What I say is like hell on earth. and your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield her fruits. And if you walk contrary to me, and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sins. So this is just more on how this hell on earth is still here after all this time, after all these accomplishments we've made, after all these, strives, and we've had leaders rise up and speak and do this and get assassinated, all these things, and we still here. Because, family, we got to return all the way to what the Most High says we are. He says we are His. And this hell on earth will continue. Don't get me wrong. You coming into the truth ain't going to stop the hell on earth, but it's going to protect you from the flames, family. I'm going to read one last verse speaking of that to you. Okay? I'm going to read Isaiah 43:2. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. So when we left Egypt the first time, it was through what? The water. Remember we talked about the rivers? They didn't overflow and take us. He destroyed the earth the first time with what? With water. The flood. It didn't overtake Noah and his family. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Because the second time, how is he going to destroy the earth? In fire. What is Yahshua coming back with? No weapon, with fire spewing from his mouth. But it says right here, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Because we walking with the Most High. We walking with Yahshua. We're going to be cool through the flame. Still going to be hell on earth, but you're going to be all right through the flame. Wasn't Daniel all right in the lion's den? When they threw him in the fire, and they said they threw his 3 homeboys, they said one looked like the son of the Most High, because he was in there protecting them from it. But this last time, you understand? This last time that we gonna be putting into the flame, it will be the last time. I just don't want you to be affected by it. I don't want to be affected by it. So with that, family, I'm praying that y'all all in good spirits, that you all staying strong. Don't trip on what's going out in this world. Don't trip what's going down out here in Hollywood with these actors and actresses and rappers and athletes and everybody fighting and beefing and all this news about nothing. Stay focused on the mission. Stay focused on what you got to do. Stay focused on getting your health right, getting your body right, getting your mind right before you go out into this war field, because that's what we living in, family. It's a war field out here. Get your mind, heart, and soul right before you do anything. With that being said, I hope the Most High keep you. I'm going to be hollering at y'all soon. Shalom.
Still do this here for my kinfolk. They still peep in my window. Still see these lames, eyelids closed. Boy, stand down all 10 toes. I don't need that's what the haters for. Against my own racial war. Praise the Lord. AKs and sword, 1984. D-Days is gone. Just the final generations, boy. Fight game with Norris, Moab, and Jordan. Said they waiting on. I can hold himself. Finna pay the lawyer on the waving court. Small crime, judge gave a quarter. Harder crimes, the noose hanging on. True music, why by the slab? True the tribe, my battalion. Cops are strapped, straight body bag. Local news will probably broadcast. Babylon finna fall back within a large casket this out of bed. Tell a bunch of block performers, melting pot boiling, hot poured. Trying to school them, no Montessori. Dr. Norris / Robert Orr. You confront like this not important. Trusting that they you'll see. And my only no HOV, that narrow path, my favorite street. Still do this here for my kinfolk. They still peep in my window. Still see these lames, eyelids closed. Boy, stand down all 10 toes. How you dumbfounded and well-rounded? These people don't care about us. No class, no bell sounded. Black celebrities hellbound. Teaching young girls that never settle down. Teaching young boys about selling pounds. White judges raising bail now. Giving numbers Excel files. Chasing matches from a small apartment. Seen a bunch of niggas catch a jail high. Beware Alice, that rabbit hole ain't got hairs bouncing. The feds allowed it. These streets is prepared for bile. style. Regrets and trials, no exit out. In-depth accounts, big metal round. Then I head to town, down south in country. SWAT trill, 1,000 hundred. Heard they want another album from me. These bars like count money. Till the mountains crumble and the firmament crack. I'ma keep burning these tracks. You heard me? Courtesy of the words, skies turn to black and the world collapse. Reversing that. Still do this here for my kinfolk.